Okay, let's dive right in. We've got the source material here about something that's just, well, exploded. Hamster Kombat and its token, HMSTR.
Right.
Our mission today, just looking at what's in these documents you provided, is to kind of unpack it all, cut through the noise, find the key details.
Yeah.
It's described as a crypto exchange CEO simulator game built right on Telegram's mini app platform. So we want to look at the details, the metrics, the plans, and give you a really clear picture based on this source. Okay, let's unpack this.
Absolutely. And
Huh.
when you look at sources like these for projects, you're really trying to find, the structure. What's the utility they claim? What's the scale they report?
Right.
And what are their plans?
Right, the fundamentals.
Exactly. It's about pulling out the data points they provide and seeing what story emerges.
Yeah.
And I agree. Some of these numbers in the documents, especially the user counts, are pretty surprising. The roadmap, too, it's ambitious.
Okay, so let's start with the token itself then, HMSTR. What does the source material actually say it is?
Well, according to these documents, HMSTR is the native utility token for the Hamster Kombat game.
Utility token, so you can use it for stuff in the game. What kind of stuff?
Yeah, the main thing listed is as in-game currency, so, buying items. They specifically mention character skins
Okay, skins. Makes sense.
and also upgrades services. And interestingly, it mentions using it for things like premium support, even tools and SDKs for game developers who might want to build on their platform.
Oh, okay. So not just for players buying things, but like enabling other developers too. That's an interesting layer.
Yeah, that stood out. And beyond that, the source also says HMSTR gives you exclusive access.
Exclusive access to what?
Things like time-limited events, squad activities, PvP battles,
Mm-hmm.
even live events.
So the source paints it as really like woven into the whole experience, buying stuff, upgrading, competing, events.
Exactly. Based on this material, it's positioned as pretty central if you want to engage deeply with all the different parts of the game described.
All right, so that's the token's function as described. Let's shift to the numbers. The source gives specific metrics, noted as being from September 12th, 2024. And this is where it gets, well, really interesting. Let's start with the token supply details.
Okay, so the source names it HMSTR. Says it's a TON Jeton. That's the token standard on the TON blockchain, like ERC20 for Ethereum.
Right.
And the total and maximum supply, a nice round 100 billion thousand. 100 billion tokens.
100 billion. Wow. Okay, that's a lot of zeros.
It certainly is. And the documents specify the initial circulating supply when it gets listed on Binance is planned at 64,375,000.
So carry the one. That's
Yeah.
about 64.38%, roughly two-thirds circulating right away.
Around that, yeah. Just under 65% circulating initially, according to these figures they provide.
Okay, and there was something about Binance Launch Pool in there too.
Yes. The source allocates 3 billion tokens, which is 3% of the total supply, to the Binance Launch Pool. And it even gives a specific start date for that, September 23rd, 2024.
Got it. Okay, so we have the token's role and its supply structure, according to the source. But the numbers that really made me blink were about the user base. Also, as of that same date, September 12th, what does the source report there?
Yeah, these are significant. The source claims a total user base of 300 million players.
300 million.
And then it breaks it down. Monthly active users, MAU, at 82 million. And daily active users, DAU, 32 million players.
Wait, 32 million daily active users for a game on Telegram. That scale is just huge. Frankly, it dwarfs a lot of standalone apps, doesn't it?
It's an enormous number reported here, yes.
Right.
And the source also mentions connected crypto wallets.
Right. What about those?
It states over 55 million TON wallets were connected to the game as of that September 12th date.
Wow. Okay. So help me connect these dots based just on the source material. You've got these almost unbelievable user numbers, 300 million total, 32 million daily.
Right.
And then you have that initial token supply of around 64 billion. What kind of picture does that paint, just looking at what these documents claim? Well, what's really fascinating, just sticking to the numbers in the source, is putting those two things side by side. That reported user base, huge numbers, tens of millions of connected wallets next to a specific, even if large, initial circulating supply.
Yeah.
It suggests, if these figures are accurate representations, a project that achieved just massive viral growth and user adoption on Telegram, perhaps faster than many traditional apps or even other crypto projects typically see, the ratio, of reported users to the initial tokens available. That's a key thing to look at when you're analyzing the dynamics described in these documents.
That kind of reported engagement level is, well, it's remarkable. Okay, so beyond the snapshot from September, the source also gives us a roadmap What future plans are laid out?
Yeah, the roadmap section is pretty detailed. It goes into late 2025. So for Q3 2024, the plan described was launching their second season, adding more games to their library, and starting work on integrating external payment systems.
Okay, payments. Makes sense. What about the end of 2024, Q4? Q4 2024 looks packed, according to the source. They plan to release a PWA. That's a progressive web app. Makes it feel more like a normal app, helps with things like payments.
Right.
Also, releasing the first games from external developers, adding NFT mechanics into the mix for Season 2's metagame.
Okay, NFTs coming in, third-party developers. Feels like building out an ecosystem.
Exactly. And there's more for Q4 listed here. Integrating their own ad network, launching clans with deep integration, releasing 2 major game titles that fully use the token, and introducing RMT.
RMT, real money trading.
Yep, real money trading, letting players potentially buy and sell game assets for actual money within the platform games.
Wow, okay. That's a significant feature. What about 2025, according to the roadmap?
So Q1 2025, the documents outline the first competitive clan championship. They call it Hamster 2.0. Also expanding the partner games, and they note specifically bringing in more complex, costly projects and launching an internal NFT marketplace.
Ah, their own marketplace. Ties in with the NFT mechanics. Makes sense. Q2 2025.
Yeah. Q2 next year. The source marks that for the second phase of their token drop. And also introducing tools for user-generated content, UGC.
UGC tools. So letting the players actually build things within the ecosystem. That's interesting.
Yeah, empower the community. And then finally, Q3 2025.
What's planned then?
The source indicates moving beyond just the PWA and integrating with desktop games.
Desktop integration too.
Yeah.
That's a really dense, ambitious roadmap described here. Covers gameplay, monetization, NFTs, third-party devs, user creation, RMT, all tied back to the platform and presumably the HMSTR token.
It definitely suggests, based on this document, a long-term vision, building out a whole gaming platform on Telegram, it seems.
Right. It lays out quite a sequence of planned features designed to really deepen engagement and expand what the platform can do.
Seems that way from the source, yes.
And the source also quickly mentioned community resources, just listed them.
Yeah, just a brief list, the usual stuff available as of the source date. Website, white paper, X account, formerly Twitter, Telegram channels, YouTube. Basically pointers for where you might find more info directly from them.
Okay. So let's try to wrap this up based purely on the documents you shared. We've looked at what Hamster Kombat is described as the function and utility outlined for the HMSTR token.
Right.
Those, frankly, staggering user numbers and token supply figures reported as of September 12th, 2024.
Yeah, scale.
And this very detailed, pretty ambitious roadmap stretching out well into 2025.
Exactly. And when you piece those elements together, just from this source material, you get this picture of a project reporting just unprecedented user scale, at least on Telegram. And they've mapped out this rapid multi-pronged development plan, integrating all sorts of gaming and Web3 concepts, right? NFTs, RMT, external games, UGC, all seemingly centered around the HMSTR token and the TON blockchain ecosystem.
It's quite a combination they describe, that reported viral growth meeting this planned feature depth. So based purely on these specific details in this source. Thinking about that huge user base they claim, the way the token is initially distributed, and that really aggressive roadmap. What might that imply, for how the project might develop, how the token's role might evolve? What stands out to you from these particular figures and plans? Something for you, the listener, to ponder.
Indeed. That interaction between the reported scale, the planned distribution, and the sheer speed of execution outlined in the roadmap, that's definitely key.
Well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the Hamster Kombat source material you brought in. We hope breaking down what's in these documents helps you get a clearer sense of the phenomenon described here.